Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides on political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebulomo Adekunle. In a major story, bomb scare in Imo as police uncover bombs planted in Owerri Church. Also in this program, federal government tinkers override strategy to rescue abducted Chibok girls. APC accuses presidency, police of plot to slam trumped-up charges against its leaders in Ekiti State. Outside Nigeria, Ukraine mourns 49 people killed pro-Kremlin rebels as Kiev prepares to host last gasp talks with Moscow to avert a Russian gas cut. And now the details. The Commissioner of Police in Imo State, Abdulmajid Ali, says 6 persons have been arrested in connection with 2 improvised explosive devices planted at the Living Faith Church, otherwise called Winners Chapel, in Owerri. Ali, who spoke to journalists at the church premises along Port Harcourt Road, says the 2 timed bombs were planted at the church premises by unknown persons. According to him, the command was alerted about the strange objects in the church compound. Ali says the command would do everything possible to unravel the perpetrators of the act. He urged the people to go about their normal activities as the 2 IEDs had been detonated. The brigade commander, 34 Artillery Brigade, Owerri, Larry Bello, confirmed that the explosives were capable of killing many people at a time. Chairman of the National Orientation Agency, Michael Mary, says the need to evolve the right strategy to rescue alive the over 200 girls abducted from Chibok, Borno State, is what separates them from freedom. The Chief of Defense Staff, Alex Bade, had last month said the security leadership had located where members of Boko Haram were holding the abducted girls. Badi also said the military would not use force to release the girls because they need to prevent the insurgents from killing them. The NOA boss buttressed the point by drawing from 2 rescue operations in the northern parts of the country. While one, according to him, was successful, the other resulted in the killing of an Italian and English victims. Meanwhile, the leader of the Chibok community in Abuja, Sambido Abana, has called on the federal government to heed the advice those that are urging it to negotiate with the Boko Haram sects for the release of the over 200 schoolgirls that were abducted over 2 months ago. The community leader says former President Olusegun Obasanjo was right in his observation that many of the girls may not be seen again in view of the delay in their rescue. Comments by former President Olusegun Obasanjo that the federal government is not supporting his negotiation with Boko Haram for the freedom of the abducted girls has been generating controversies. A lawyer, Tunde Kolawole, and a lecturer at the Yaba College of Technology in Lagos, Olufemi Akinshola, admonished the federal government to be supportive of all moves to bring back the girls.
Whether the outcome of his negotiation is going to be binding or useful is a different. He could go ahead if the federal parliament don't give their consent to do the negotiation. But of what use will the outcome of the negotiation be if it doesn't have a binding effect, if it doesn't have the consent of the federal? Because by and large, when you are negotiating with people, is a trade by barter thing. Absolutely, like since he has put it on the pages of the newspaper, if I were Mr. President, Jonathan, I will give him my consent. I will give him the authority to go ahead and negotiate with the Boko Haram. Also on the pages of the newspaper, like he has said, since he's put it on the rooftop now. So I will also do the same thing, because at the end of the day, if anything untoward happens to those girls, and Obasanjo is already sounding that warning that most of the girls are never likely to return back to us, then the president will be blamed that I was somebody who gave us an opportunity to really get these girls back, and Mr. President turned a blind eye or a deaf ear and a non-smelling nose to the request to negotiate with the Boko Haram.
Since he has offered himself on a platter of goods free of charge to the government to do the negotiation, it will just be a wise thing for the government to grant him that request. Let him negotiate on behalf of the government with the Boko Haram, and if the agreement or the terms of the agreement is good to the government, they implement it.
For Akinshola, the refusal of Nigeria's extradition request by Sudan to have the alleged mastermind of the Yaya bombing, Aminu Sadiq Oguchi, brought back to Nigeria is condemnable.
Irrespective of international treaty and agreement with French government, that all the French territory during the colonial era will support Nigerian government in the battle against insurgency. So that this government now said they are not going to be party to it. It may be a reflection of the attitude of Nigerian government to the president of Sudan when he ran to Nigeria for assistance when he wanted to be tried by the ICC.
Political analysts have described the requests for the extradition of the Yaya bombing mastermind Sadiq Oguchi as a step in the right direction, urging the federal government to pursue the course with vigor. Speaking during a visit to our Lagos studios, Akintoye, Branko Rhodes and Achike Chude say the Nigerian government should not be frustrated in the efforts to bring Oguchi to book.
The only way forward is for the Nigerian government to diligently present their case in terms of the investigations they've carried out to ensure that that young man was at that location or masterminded the Nyanya bombings. Now, that is the onus. That's where I think the responsibility lies. Lies now for the government to meritably prove its case for extradition. And I hope, in the light of the sentiments in the country right now and the gradual diminishing confidence in the state, in the state's ability to hold things down, I hope that the state will rise up to the challenge of promptly articulating their position and extraditing that young man and causing him to face justice.
So I want to believe that the Sudanese government is committed to ensuring that a man that has committed such a heinous crime, has no business within their country, and they should, at the earliest time that they settle some of the processes that are involved, that they ensure that he's immediately repatriated to Nigeria to face the punishment that he thoroughly deserves in the country. So I do not expect any form of resistance from the Sudanese government.
The All Progressives Congress has raised alarm over alleged plot by the presidency and the police to slam trumped-up charges against its leaders in Ekiti State. In a statement by the State Director of Media and Publicity, Segun Dipe, the party says there are strong indications that a special squad of top police officers from Abuja had arrived Ekiti to put APC leaders out of circulation ahead the June 21st governorship election in the state. APC says the move was an outcome of a meeting held at the Ekute Ado-Ekiti home of the chieftain of the People's Democratic Party. The allegation followed the June 8 brawl between the police and the APC supporters in Ado-Ekiti, which led to the death of one Taiwo Akinola. The statement added that as a prelude, the Commissioner for Integration and Intergovernmental Affairs, Fuminiyi Afuye, a lawyer, was assaulted and whisked away to Abuja on a trumped-up charge of shooting Taiwo Akinola while attempting to absolve the alleged culprit, Gabriel Shelenkere. APC says top on the list of those to be arrested on false charges as stumbled upon include the interim chairman of the party in the state, Jide Awe, and the chief of staff to the governor, Yemi Adaramodu. With the June 21st governorship election just around the corner, indications are already emerging that Inye-Ekiti will be a political flashpoint. Concerned Inye indigents have lashed out at the press release credited to the officials serving under Governor Kayode Fayemi, saying the community is not in support of Opeyemi Bamidele. Rashid has more.
In an earlier press release, George Ojo, the chairman of the Ekiti State House of Assembly Commission, who is also an indigent, says Opeyemi Bamidele has not contributed to the community, a statement dismissed by the concerned indigents.
We shall endeavor to set the record straight. The purpose of those who read their misguided and unguided statements. Honorable Opeyemi Bamidele ranks within the first three in the hierarchy of those who have contributed financially towards the development of Adia town in Ekiti.
The indigents also declared as null and void earlier opposition by some people, saying Inye is not in support of Bamidele.
We want to let the whole world see the grain from the shaft. The press release issued by the aforementioned therefore should be seen as a figment of their own imagination, fabricated, concocted, and maliciously presented.
Ogundari pledged the support of the community for Bamidele as one of the indigents in Fayemi's government who spoke on behalf of others reacted to the endorsement.
And in people, home and abroad, are solely behind Honorable Opeyemi Bamidele.
The problem with MOB is that it doesn't have a chance. Because the election that we are doing now is a scientific one. Before we go to the polls, we already know our strengths, and that is why he's scared. The truth of the matter is that MOB is riding a sinking ship. He has no chance for survival. If he likes himself, this is the best time to get out before he perishes.
However, political observers are waiting to see the outcome of this development on the governorship poll. Rashid, CoreTV News, Inye-Ekiti.
Not less than 1,000 members of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC in Kwara on Sunday in Ilorin defected to the People's Democratic Party PDP. The defectors, who were from the 7 wards in Ilorin West local government area, were received by Alhaji Mustafa Ishowo, State Vice Chairman, Central of the PDP at Alore in Ajikobi Ward, Ilorin. Ishowo expressed happiness that new members took the courage to leave APC for PDP and assured them of equal treatment. CoreTV gathered that the defectors surrendered their APC membership card to Ishowo, who gave them PDP cards in return. Ishowo advised the new members to register as voters when voters' registration commenced in the state. He assured the new members that with PDP, they would actualize their dreams and aspirations, adding that PDP is the only party in the country owned by the people. It's 1 year since the demise of the former Iyaloja General, Abibatu Mogaji. Abiola Oluwole was at the Fidao for the late Mogaji. His report is presented from our studios. Eminent personalities across the length and breadth of Nigeria gathered at the Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos, for the Fidao of late Iyaloja General and the mother of the national leader of All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu. Islamic scholars, one after the other, took time to pray for the repose of the soul of the late matriarch of the Mogaji family. Quoting from the Holy Quran, clerics say one way to be remembered for good after death is to impart the lives of fellow human beings.
You started from whether you like it or not, you are something today. You are still going back, coming back to become nothing.
The carnival-like Fidao had in attendance former military head of state Muhammadu Buhari ex-Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Governor Babatunde Fashola, among other NLC boss Abdulwahid Omar blasts federal government over the lingering strike by teachers and workers in Nigeria's colleges of education and polytechnics. Details after this timeout.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ghana. Please remain seated and ensure your seatbelts are fastened. You can now turn on your MTN mobile phone data to enjoy a browsing rate of 5 kobo per kilobyte with MTN One World. Thank you.
Absolutely. Browse like home with MTN One World. Surfing the web from any MTN operating country costs the same like home. Enjoy affordable rates when you call and send text messages. Terms and conditions apply.
MTN. Everywhere you go.
This one wash challenge will test Ariel to see if it removes stains in one wash. Let the challenge begin. First, chocolate and juice. We will wash shirts with Ariel. Look, Ariel has cleaned in just one wash. So which detergent removes stains in one wash? Ariel. P&G Everyday Quality brand.
Come June 21, it will be decision day for the people of Ekiti. 18 candidates are gunning for one seat.
I am the next governor of Ekiti.
But the people will have the final say.
I know that tolerance has a very big place.
Join extensive coverage of the election and get up to the many details as development unfolds.
I'm the voice of the Ekiti people.
With expert analysis from the best political team on television.
And that's honesty of island. Without
Join us all day June 21 to find out who emerges the next governor of Ekiti State.
We have agreed to move this state forward.
Keep a date with us on CoreTV News. You can also watch us live on our website on www.coretvnews.com, a 24-hour news station.
CoreTV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, People's Parliament from the National, State and Local Government Assembly. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 01453-3407.
Our 24-hour news station.
Thank you so much for being there. And for more information on our news and other programs, you can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/CoreTV News. On Twitter @CoreTV News NG. Also on YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV /The News. The Nigeria Labour Congress has decried federal government's handling of the Colleges of Education Academic Staff Union strike, which is in its 5th month. In his keynote address at the NLC National Administrative Council meeting held in Ado-Ekiti, the NLC President Abdulwahid Omar explains that the federal government has not shown enough commitment to the demands of the teachers. Rashid monitored the meeting in Ado-Ekiti and filed on this report.
President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Abdulwahid Omar, frowns at the federal government's present odd stance on the demand of the colleges of education and polytechnic lecturers.
The relationship between Labour in general and the federal government is cordial, except, as I always say, that there are issues, and we always, when issues arise, we put them across. What we need to see is quick responses to those things. But no doubt that in very many areas we have issues. We make representation. There are responses.
He stressed that the federal government must apply human face in its relationship with workers, particularly the polytechnic and colleges of education lecturers.
The most important thing is quick response to demands, and you look at them rather than when people come with demands, you just say, no, go to hell. As long as there's continued dialogue and you continue to resolve problems gradually, then life continues.
The NLC boss expresses total support for the action of the striking workers and asks the federal government to step up its game at ending the strike.
We had expected that the president would have intervened in the same manner he intervened the issue of ASU. But we are still following. Perhaps we had written a letter. There's nothing stopping us from also once again reminding Mr. President that let him intervene so that the issue of the strike of these very major areas will be a thing of history. But my hope is that federal government will also respond appropriately.
The federal government, according to Omar, must be ready to commit sufficient funds to the development of all arms of the education sector.
A marketing classic dubbed first of its kind by its publisher has been launched in Lagos. The book dwells on how to survive in today's world of marketing. Oluwaseyi Adokike has more in this report presented from our studios. The book, titled Kill or Get Killed, focuses on strategies to adapt in order to make wave in the competitive marketing world. Author of the book, Kolawole Oyeyemi, opens up on the motivation behind the book.
It's a desire to leave a legacy for marketing practitioners and to ensure that we're able to tell our own stories and show how global principles of marketing, global concepts of marketing have been, customized to the African environment using practical examples of brands and the kind of warfare and battles that have happened in Nigeria, in Kenya, and some other African countries to show that while marketing is a global concept, the principles are global in orientation, but the adaptation of the practice must be customized to the environment where you operate.
Oyeyemi describes the book as a warfare of shareholding struggle in marketing.
The kind of lessons I'm looking for that abounds in East and West Africa, I can't find them as much as I would want to find them in South Africa. And so what you find in the book is an aggregate of knowledge about brands marketing, about the warfare amongst brands in these countries.
Publisher and marketing expert Akin Adeoya says the book is a major breakthrough in the Nigerian marketing mix.
In terms of hands-on, professional, scholarly, well thought out, verifiable book on Nigerian brands, analyzing the stories that we've seen over the last 10, 20 years. We're all familiar with the stories of the contentious challenge on the stock market.
I personally, published this book. I edited and all that. I had my reservations the first time when I was told about the book, and I was like, this is going to bore me to death. But then, when I started reading it, I was wowed, I had to give the author a call, and I was like, this reads like a book that will be written by a Harvard Business School professor.
The publisher of the book, Winnie Aduaye, describes it as a must-read. The publisher vowed that the marketing industry will experience a great chance as soon as the book hits the ground running. Anxiety builds up among Nigerian soccer fans as Super Eagles get set to play Iran at the ongoing World Cup in Brazil. Details of these and other sports stories, as well as stories outside Nigeria, right after this break. Don't go away.
CoreTV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, People's Parliament from the National, State and Local Government Assembly. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 01453-3407.
Our 24-hour news station.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball storming, Puyol with a flying lead.
Bo taking them out in the lead.
And now to sports. Iran and Nigeria will meet for the first time in history at a World Cup when the arena at Baghdad Stadium opens its doors on Monday for the first match in this city in the south of Brazil. This is Nigeria's 5th World Cup and the 4th for Iran. Iran's qualification was like crossing through hell, admitted coach Carlos Queiroz after his team achieved their objective. And for the Portuguese, now is the time for crossing through heaven. But Nigeria are not a team prone to gifting matches to the opposition, and Stephen Keshi wants to show in Brazil why they are the current champions of Africa. The Super Eagles arrives in South America hoping to improve on their best return from a World Cup. They reached the round of 16 in 1994 and 1998. Argentina coach Alejandro Sabella has refused to acknowledge that his side are favourites to beat Bosnia-Herzegovina ahead of the World Cup match, stressing they must not be underestimated. Safet Soci's men are playing in their first ever World Cup as an independent nation and kicked their tournament off against the South Americans, who are one of the favourites to win it outright. However, despite boasting of players of the caliber of Lionel Messi, Angel Di Maria and Sergio Aguero, Sabella insists that Eastern Europeans cannot be underestimated in their first game. Zinedine Zidane has tipped France forward Karim Benzema to become a future Real Madrid captain if he applies himself. The 26-year-old striker has scored 112 times in 235 games for Los Blancos since making a $35 million move from Olympique Lyonnais in July 2009. However, doubts have remained over his temperament in big games, with Benzema record for France failing to match his domestic exploits. Zidane insists he can play an increasingly key role for club and country and starts to be seen in the same light as Madrid's traditional leaders. We'll take another break on CoreTV Primetime News and we'll be back with stories from outside Nigeria.
This one wash challenge will test Ariel to see if it removes stains in one wash. Let the challenge begin. First, chocolate and juice. We will wash shirts with Ariel. Look, Ariel has cleaned in just one wash. So which detergent removes stains in one wash? Ariel, P&G Everyday Quality brand.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ghana. Please remain seated and ensure your seatbelts are fastened. You can now turn on your MTN mobile phone data to enjoy a browsing rate of 5 kobo per kilobyte with MTN One World. Thank you.
Absolutely. Browse like home with MTN One World. Surfing the web from any MTN operating country costs the same like home. Enjoy affordable rates when you call and send text messages. Terms and conditions apply.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Come June 21, it will be decision day for the people of Ekiti. 18 candidates are gunning for one seat.
I am the next governor of Ekiti.
But the people will have the final say.
I know that tolerance has a very big place.
Join extensive coverage of the election and get up to the many details as development unfolds.
I'm the voice of the Ekiti people.
With expert analysis from the best political team on television.
And that's honesty of island. Without
Join us all day June 21 to find out who emerges the next governor of Ekiti State.
We have agreed to move this state forward.
Keep a date with us on CoreTV News. You can also watch us live on our website on www.coretvnews.com, a 24-hour news station.
CoreTV News presents a platform with presence in over 30 states of the Federation. Be sure to be had. For live coverage of events, we have the capacity to deliver from anywhere in Nigeria and beyond. Contact us now on 0803 471 8550 or 0803-724-9733, 014-533-407.
Our 24-hour news station.
Outside Nigeria, Ukraine mourns 49 people killed when pro-Kremlin rebels downed their military plane as Kiev prepared to host last gasp talks with Moscow to avert a Russian gas cut that would also hit Europe. Flags were lowered across the crisis-hit nation, while television stations inserted an image of a burning candle into their frames after Ukrainian forces suffered the single biggest loss of life in their escalating two-month push to reclaim control of separatist areas of the industrial East. The gas negotiations and commemorations were both clouded by a new diplomatic field that exploded after an irate Ukrainian mob in Kiev smashed the Russian embassy windows and overturned cars while the police looked on. Ukraine's new, more nationalistic leaders and their Western allies accuse Russia of supplying weapons and even tanks to the insurgents in a bid to break up its Western neighbor following the February ouster of a pro-Kremlin regime. NATO released satellite images purporting to show 3 Russian tanks that had crossed the border and were later spotted being raced across the eastern city of Donetsk by militants flying the flag of their self-declared People's Republic. But Moscow has hit back by accusing Western powers of backing dangerous Ukrainian fascists who are persecuting the East's ethnic Russians and waging a punitive operation against their own people. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has accused the Islamist Hamas movement of kidnapping 3 teenagers as a massive West Bank manhunt for the missing youth entered its 3rd day. As troops wrapped up the biggest arrest operation in years, detaining 80 Palestinians overnight, many of them Hamas members, Netanyahu pointed the finger of blame directly at the Islamist movement. The youngster, one of whom also holds a U.S. passport, are students at Jewish seminaries in the West Bank, believed to have been snatched from an area between Bethlehem and Hebron while hitchhiking. They have been identified as Gilad Shai, 16, from Talmon, settlement near Ramallah, Naphtali Franklin, 16, from Nof, and Eyal Ifrach, 19, from Elad, both in central Israel. Their disappearance came 10 days after the establishment of a new Palestinian government of technocrats pieced together by Abbas's Fatah movement and Hamas following a unity agreement between rival leaders in the West Bank and Gaza. The reconciliation with Hamas, which is committed to Israel's destruction, has enraged Israel, with Netanyahu placing responsibility for the teens' safe return on the soldiers of Abbas and his Palestinian Authority. His accusation has, however, been derided by Hamas. And that's the show for tonight. But before we wrap up the news, another look at the top stories. Bomb scare in Imo as police uncover bombs planted in Owerri Church. Federal government tinkers over right strategy to rescue abducted Chibok girls alive. And that's the news for tonight. Thank you so much for being there. On behalf of the production crew, good night.